To the civilised world, Queen Elizabeth II was a universally respected figure, a rock of stability, dignity, decorum and compassion. And then there's Twitter and the radical left. The people who run and use Twitter are those who consider themselves our moral and intellectual superiors. The intelligentsia. The virtuous overlords entitled to judge everyone else. To decide who should be allowed to speak and who should be cancelled. They've deleted scores of people. Just recently, they cancelled towering figures of moderation, decency, and intellectual rigour. People like Jordan Peterson and James Lindsay. They also gave me a lifetime ban simply because I said I hope the left-wing Jacinda Ardern loses an election. But what sort of people remain? Well, you can see them here. These are the people who continuously beseech us to be kind. While Twitter claims that its terms and conditions exist to stop the spread of hateful conduct, to make sure they don't allow abuse, you're not supposed to be allowed to harass people or to wish them harm. You can't engage in hateful conduct. You must be sensitive and thoughtful of others. That's what their terms say. But this is the reality. While they ban scores of thoughtful, decent and moderate people on the right, this is what they shield, what they protect, what they allow, what they encourage. This is what Twitter is. It's what the bulk of the left is. An ocean of people utterly persuaded of their decency, their probity, their unimpeachable moral and intellectual rigour. That's their self-image. But here we see the reality. Deluded, smug, nasty, vitriolic, thick, ignorant, spiteful, juvenile, historically illiterate, bigoted, venomous, arrogant, narrow-minded, and self-righteous. Simply vile in every way imaginable. And look, I've got nothing against humour at a time like this. You should always be allowed to joke about sensitive topics. Edgy humour's one of the great coping mechanisms of humanity. But most of this stuff isn't humour. It's just the vilest, most hate-filled spite imaginable. And I get that a lot of people don't like monarchy, that they consider it antiquated, distastefully wealthy, and an anachronism. And that's fine. It's a valid enough position. But there's a big difference between disliking an institution and in holding such unrestrained resentment for the personnel. The Queen was born into her position, rather like people who were gay or Muslim. So why is she singled out for such crass and relentless abuse? I'm asking for reasons, but of course, these people are beyond reason. They simply hold a knee-jerk, adolescent view of the world, one shorn of reflection or nuance. They never question or examine their views, which is why The Guardian feels entitled in posting a lengthy article that effectively blames the Queen for slavery that happened 200 years before she was born, and publish it before she's even cold. This is a derangement. Yet these are the people that the whole of society has been scrambling to appease for years. All our institutions are bent over backwards to apologise and surrender to this. Well, it's a cult. One populated by spittle-flecked lunatics. People who can look at a 96-year-old woman, one defined by duty and dignity for decades, and can blame her for crimes that happened centuries before she was born. This should really be a wake-up call. Because this is the cult of woke revealed in all its naked ugliness. Here we're gifted by juvenile idiots like Taylor Lorenz, A woman defined by pettiness and hypocrisy, sneered at a stateswoman whose contribution to our world dwarfs her own, defined as it is by vindictively rabbiting platitudes she barely comprehends, on subjects she's never even studied. There's nothing redeeming about these people. They are vile and empty, defined only by their pathetic attention-seeking and bloated narcissism. Yet they've acted as, and been treated as, the moral guardians of our age. And what an age. Because the veneration of these entitled, ignorant fools has resulted in a society more spiteful, more divided, and more idiotic than virtually any that's preceded it. And here it is, laid bare again, with such vast amounts of undeniable evidence of the emptiness, idiocy, vacuity, spite, and pure hate of the cult of woke. We can only hope that more moderates will be roused into opposition, that they will finally stand up and shake off the derangement that holds a stranglehold on our society, that has an insidious grip on the internet, our schools, our culture, and on the very soul and psyche of our civilization. There's nothing compassionate or tolerant here. It's just a sickness. A malady far more corrosive, harmful and damaging than the over-egged pandemic that these same fools shrieked about for years. For that's all they have. Self-obsession, wailing, animus, and a view of the world so adolescent it should shame a level-headed 10-year-old. Enough is enough. Let this be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Let our society wake up from this bad dream and return to sanity, to decency, to once again discover a sense of proportion, to learn to listen, to tolerate, and to turn towards a world that cherishes calm maturity rather than juvenile rage. It's time to put this judgmental, narrow-minded and shrieking cult back in its box, for all our sakes. God bless the Queen. If you'd like to support this channel, please like, subscribe, and think about buying my books. They go into topics like this in much greater detail. They're called The Tyranny of the Left, and they're available on the links below. Please do feel free to pick them up and let me know what you think. Thank you.